Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. Time to reinvest some of those Breeders' Cup winnings into the feature race at Aqueduct on Sunday. It's the Grade 3 Nashua 2-year-olds going a one-turn mile. Let's take a look at this field. Morning line favorite, stretch-out sprinter. That's the number 8 Meru, coming off a 95. Buyer speed figure victory at Monmouth. This one has won 2 in a row in very impressive fashion. You've got a Todd Pletcher 2-year-old chase tracker who won at Parks last time out. But this is a very wide open race, and we're expecting a hot pace with several stretch-out sprinters. We check out the Timeform U.S. pace projector. Meru, first time past 6 furlongs, expected to make the lead. We've got a horse down towards the inside, the number 1 Spycraft. That horse was a gate-to-wire winner going 6 furlongs out there, and Lebda is very, very fast as well. So there could be some hitting in this race.
Yeah, I won't be surprised if they go fast. I won't be surprised if Meru's on the lead either. He's a quick horse, but there is plenty of speed in this race, that's for sure.
Number 1 is Spycraft, who went gate to wire in the career debut for Godolphin, and Tommy Albertrani. Albertrani usually doesn't win first time out, so maybe a couple extra points for this discreet cat colt. We turn into the stretch of the debut. Spycraft showed speed from the beginning, is down towards the inside, and is going to go on his way to a rock-solid victory. 77 Buyer's speed figure, I think has enough pedigree to last this mile, and is a really interesting second-time candidate.
Yeah, he is. I liked this debut effort from him a lot. He had really good speed in this race. The horses that run second and third both tried to take him out on the turn. He held those horses off and he got away and was clear under the wire. I really liked the way he ran. The form of that race, it's not exactly working out so far. I don't know if that's maybe an apples to oranges thing. It may not matter at all. The horses that have run back out of there have not run particularly well. But this horse, he was good first time out.
The number 2 is Americanus, and this horse is certainly bred for longer distances by Warfront out of a mineshaft mare that wanted to go long, and this colt looked good, sitting off the pace in the career debut and rolling by for Mark Henning, who's had some nice 2-year-olds this year. We turn into the stretch of Americanus's debut. He's in the 2-path in those blue silks. He's got some work to do to run down Trash Talker, and he does it in professional fashion. He showed some heart in this race, Mike.
Yeah, he did. He got a really good trip, just sitting in behind that pace setter, and you could see him wear him down here in the final 16th of a mile. A couple of horses coming a little bit too late at the end. I thought he ran well, Dan. He didn't get much of a figure for the race, and he's facing some very fast 2-year-olds in here, but this horse has potential.
Kind of odd that the 3 Live Your Beast Life, a $200,000 2-year-old in training purchase in March, made the career debut for 62.5. Jorge Abreu took a risk, got away with it, scoring at 7 furlongs. We watch Live Your Beast Life's race. Going to come with a run on the outside here, and this race only got a 59 Buyer speed figure, but I think we can give him a couple of more points simply because he wanted a demanding 7 furlong distance.
Yeah, it's not easy to win first time out of 7. And he actually finishes it off pretty well here. The last 16th of a mile or so, he's really going away. Like, the distance is just no problem for him. The race is slow. It was for a tag. Those things you don't really like. But it's also worth noting he broke about a step slowly in that race too. He did some good things first time out.
The 4 is Polar Bear Pete. This is another one stepping off a debut win against maiden claimers. This one came over a sealed, sloppy track. We're going to take a look at that race right now. And Polar Bear Pete is the number 4. He is attacking on the outside right now, and he readily runs by these horses. I thought that was a nice turn of foot, Mike, for him to take the lead at the 8th pole, but the fig came back slow, 56 Buyer, and he's taking on much tougher competition seemingly in this graded stake.
Yeah, I mean, they found a very tough spot for a second start. Clearly, they liked his debut a lot, and I see why they did. He won very easily. He has continued to train very well since that race, so maybe he's got some talent. This is not an easy spot.
Constitution has been a sensational first crop sire. His 2-year-olds just seem to be running. And here's another one. The 5 Independence Hall debuted in the slower division of 7 furlong 2-year-old maiden special weights at Parks on September the 21st. Didn't break very well, but that didn't faze him at all. Right now, he is on the attack on the outside. He makes the lead, and he draws away under Joel Rosario. We know Michael Trombetta is a very good trainer. I think this colt has some ability, even though it was the slower division.
Yeah, it was a little bit slower than the other division, and the horse that won the other division is also in this race. But if I'm being honest, Dan, I preferred this horse of those two. this horse's debut was really, really good. I mean, I thought he really ran. I liked the way that he sat in behind horses early. He had no problem with that. Once he came clear in the stretch, he rolled. I'm going to use this horse somewhere. He's going to be a good price too, I think.
Laurel-based trainer Claudio Gonzalez deserves a lot of credit with the 6 Lebda. Listen, this horse was bought for $1,000 as a yearling, and he is now graded stakes place, finishing third behind Dennis's Moment and Scabbard, 2 horses that ran in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Now, I think that mile and a 16th is a little far for him. Personally, I kind of think this mile's a little bit far for him, looking at his pedigree, a lot of speed on the bottom, but he has pace. His buyers are really solid for a 2-year-old, and he deserves a shot in this spot.
Yeah, I can't argue with them running him in here. He's run 4 times already. First of all, I just like that he was an early 2-year-old because you don't see many of those. To me, he's run well in all 4 of his races, Dan. He was never going to win the Iroquois. I thought he was very brave in the stretch to hold on to third in that race. This horse is pretty good.
Let's look at Chase Tracker, the horse that won the faster division of those maiden special weights at Parks on September the 21st. This is another horse that came from off of the pace. He is a son of Verrazano. Verrazanos, they usually aren't that precocious, but this horse looked like a Todd Pletcher firster of old. He finishes it off very nicely, got an 82 Beyer speed figure. Arad Ortiz back aboard, and again, very important that he won at 7.
Yeah, I mean, he ran really well first time out. He got a good trip in that race out in the clear. You saw the way that he finished with a very nice run at the end. It feels like he's got even more upside, and it doesn't seem like distance is a problem for him. I'm not going to knock this horse, Dan, but I preferred others.
And here's the key to the race, the number 8 Meru. Can he stretch out from 6 to a mile? Because if he does and he runs anything close to the figure of his last race, obviously he will be very salty. Let's go back to that Smoke Glacken Stakes at Monmouth. It wasn't a very strong field, and he went to the front, and Javion Toledo's just going to ask him. I mean, this isn't going to be your hand ride, eye-catching victory. This is a driving win for this colt, but he draws away handily. He did get the big figure, and I think it's notable that we see some stamina-building workouts on the tag. 1 at 6 furlongs, 1 at 5 furlongs. They're trying maybe to get this horse to slow down a little bit, to build up that stamina to go a mile, but we'll know him early. Javier picks up the mount, and just from a figure standpoint, he's a main contender.
Yeah, he definitely is. He's the horse to beat based on the 2 races he's run. I was really taken with his debut back in July. He was super when he won first time out, and he got a fast figure for his Smoke Glacken too. I mean, you know, I guess you never know about stretching out, and you make a good point about the way they're working him. Almost like they're a little bit worried about it. He's got plenty of pedigree to stretch out, though, so, you know, we'll see what happens. I think he is the horse to beat again.
The number 9, Famished, was far from embarrassed in the Grade 3 Pilgrim, and they stretched him out on the turf. And I think that could be a very useful prep for this race. He won on dirt 2 starts back at Saratoga. We're going to watch that race right now. This race was the slower division of 7 furlong maiden special weights at Saratoga on August the 31st, but he was no secret off of a very good debut. He was even money. He's going to have to work in this race, but he gets it done, and he's getting away at the end.
Yeah, I like the way he finishes in here. He was a short price in here, and they rode him with a lot of confidence, I thought. And then he just, did what he had to do at the end to win. His debut was very good in a very live race. Turf to dirt really could work for this horse. There are things to like about him.
Mike, I think you made a Shara horse watch on a recent Out of the Gate episode. He was that good in his debut for Kieran McLaughlin and Shadwell Stable, and we're going to take a look at that race once again. He got right up to the close to the pace. You see him in those big white blinkers just taking over the lead right now, and he's off to the races, and this is a good Beyer speed figure in 80. I like this outside post position. I think he has enough tactical speed to sit off the speeds while on the outside. He's bred to get the distance, and again, this is another horse that's 1 at 7 furlongs, so this is just an incremental stretch out in distance.
Yeah, again, you're right about that. A lot of horses that have already won at 7, so you really don't worry about the distance for most of them. I just really liked his debut, Dan, not only the way that he finished it off, which we just saw, but even in the first part of the race, he had speed to get forward in there, but Joe Bravo didn't want the front. He took this horse in hand, and he was fine with that. He just rated and tracked the pace, and I thought he finished up very well at the end of that race. He looks like a colt with a lot of upside.
And that'll be your top selection as we take a look at our picks for the Grade 3 Nashua Stakes. You are going with Ashar over Meru. I am going with Meru, the number 8. I realize all of the kind of struggles here. Maybe he's a little bit of an underlay, stretching out at a short price. Going to have to prove it at a mile. I'm going 8, 7, 9, and 5. You're going with Ashar. Very taken with that debut.
Yeah, I'll give him the chance in here. And listen, just mostly, I'm not way against Meru. I really like his 2 races. But, stretching out could make a difference. And it is a field that came up really strong. So I didn't want to take the favorite necessarily. I do like Ashar, and I also like Independence Hall. I want to use that horse somewhere.
Should be a fun race. The Grade 3 Nashua, perhaps a prep for the Remsen at a mile and an 1/8 a little bit later on in the fall meeting at Aqueduct. And who knows, perhaps we'll see a horse on the Kentucky Derby trail. The Grade 3 Nashua is an approximate post time of 3:50 Eastern. Best of luck.